This is the Average to Savage podcast with Paul Guarino. Everyone and anyone, athletes, celebs, and much more.
What's up, everybody? I'm back for another episode of the Average Savage podcast. Our special guest today is Green Bay Packers quarterback Tim Boyle. Tim, how's it going?
Great. How are you doing?
Good. You know, in Connecticut in the cold.
It's pretty much the same over here in Green Bay. 6 degrees right now with a negative 15 wind chill. So I'm trying to survive.
Could you give me a brief background about yourself?
Yeah, born and raised in Middletown, Connecticut. Then shortly thereafter moved to Middlefield, a town over. So pretty much hail from Middlefield, Connecticut. The middle of 3 kids, older sister, younger sister, happily married parents. Played a lot of sports as a younger kid, but really enjoyed football, obviously, and obviously succeeded at it at a young age. So decided to focus on it. And, did well in high school, won 3 state championships, and then went to UConn, didn't do too well. I don't think we had a very good team then, but decided to transfer to Eastern Kentucky. Had an okay senior year, and it put me in position to be a preferred free agent with the Packers. And then at that point, it was kind of up to me, and, made the best of my situation, and ended up making the 53-man roster, so extremely blessed.
Yeah, for sure. Let's jump into that. So how'd you get into football growing up?
That's a great question. I think I was too young really to even think about it. I mean, I was probably 5 or 6 and playing flag football. I kind of just enjoyed running around at that age. You're kind of playing, basketball, baseball, football, soccer. You're trying it all out just to see what you like, and I really liked football. From a young age, I had a pretty strong arm, so the youth coaches decided to make me a quarterback. So it's funny how it all goes back to one coach pretty much just deciding my fate for the rest of my life in my football career. So yeah, it's never really looked back from a young age. Kind of just enjoyed playing football, played basketball, baseball, but those were kind of my side sports. Really enjoyed football. So I haven't looked back since.
Like you just mentioned before, I know you won 3 state titles at Xavier, which I knew as a powerhouse. Being from West Haven, I know you guys beat us a few times. And
unfortunately.
And so, what was the recruiting process like out of high school for you?
Yeah, it started picking up my junior year. My first offer came after my sophomore year from Boston College and Syracuse and UConn, and then junior year started picking up to the bigger schools. Florida, Notre Dame, Oregon, Houston. So you got those bigger schools.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, just took some visits, made good relationships with the coaches that were there, and ended up decided to commit to Boston College. And my whole senior year, I was committed to BC. And then, a few weeks before signing day, coaching change happened. And, I kind of looked around a little bit, ended up going to UConn. So, everything happens for a reason. I'm glad I went to UConn and got those experiences under my belt. Met a lot of good people, a lot of good coaches there. So, it was kind of my recruiting process. It was a little up and down there for a while, but wouldn't have it any other way. It kind of teaches you the ropes of the business. For
sure. Now, like growing up, was one of your goals like to go to UConn?
It was actually not. I was always a UConn fan growing up because that's like the local team, obviously. Yeah. But my whole recruiting process, it was kind of weird. Every time I'd go visit UConn, it'd be a cloudy, rainy day, and I just wouldn't get positive vibes from it. So I always kind of told myself I wanted to stay away from UConn, like as a sophomore and a junior. But then when UConn came back around and I kind of reintroduced the new staff, new quarterback coach, I got to obviously build some good relationships with them, and I felt comfortable, and I pulled the trigger and, had an up and down season as a freshman. And so to speak, the sophomore and junior season as well. But, like I said, it was an unfortunate roller coaster at UConn, but it taught me a whole lot about football, a lot about myself, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah, for sure. So how'd you overcome those obstacles that's going through? I know you were starting sometimes, you weren't starting sometimes.
Yeah. I always told myself, if you continue to do the right thing, then good things will happen to you. My dad and my parents, my mom, and they've always instilled that in me. You know what I mean? It's hard to do what's right, especially when no one's looking. You know what I mean? It's the character you have as your internally. Being a competitive athlete, it's you either do it or you don't do it. It's that simple. And if you can feel bad for yourself or you can work harder. And that's what I decided to do. It was tough couple blows there, being a starter, then going to third string and back up. But consistently, worked at my craft and worked, and now I'm in the position I want to be in. So, like I said, I mean, it's in the time, it was a little rough because it's definitely not easy. But looking back, it taught me a whole lot about myself, and I think the one word that stands out is perseverance, and just persevering through the good times and the bad times.
Yeah, what was the deciding factor of transferring from UConn after junior year? Like, why did you?
Just kind of wanted a clean start. I stayed at UConn my junior year because I wanted to go in and compete for the starting job.
Yeah.
That didn't happen, and I felt like I should have been a starter, but the team didn't feel like that was the case. So it was just one of those circumstances where I kind of wanted to just have a clean slate, go to a new school, have a positive college experience, get some wins under my belt. So that's kind of the driving factor for that. Gotcha.
How'd you end up at Eastern Kentucky?
Yeah, my freshman year, quarterback coach at UConn, Shane Day.
Mm-hmm.
I reached out to him. He was with the Dolphins at the time, and I said, I'm transferring. Hey, can you put me in touch with some of the coaches that you know? I just kind of reached out to my old coaches and just to see, who they knew. And he was good friends with Mark Elder, the head coach for Eastern Kentucky. So he put me in touch, and we built a relationship. I took a visit and committed to EKU.
Gotcha. Now, what was the difference between the recruiting process out of college and then going through like the transfer process?
Yeah. So my thought process was transferring down so I could play right away.
Yeah.
Right coming out of my transfer there, I thought I'd be able to go down and play right away, but that's not the case. The NCAA actually made me sit out because I had a year of eligibility and my red shirt, so they made me sit out. It was interesting. I reached out to those 1AA FCS schools, and it was between Towson, Wagner, and EKU, and felt comfortable with the staff and the offense, and decided to pull the trigger.
Gotcha. Oh, wow. I thought I thought the same thing. I thought you didn't have to sit out, but it must be if you go down to D2 or something.
Yeah, it's a very interesting rule that I didn't know about until I actually got to EKU and they told me I had to sit out. So
yeah. So what was that season like? Did you learn some new stuff, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I did. So when I first got there, obviously, most guys redshirt as true freshmen, right? And when you're a true freshman, you're kind of getting used to college. You're still into the going out phase of college, trying to figure out what you're going to do. And I got the opportunity to redshirt as a true senior. So it was a whole nother experience for me. I really buckled down physically. I put on probably 10 pounds of good weight. Learned a lot about football. I was in every single staff meeting, every quarterback meeting. I was pretty much a GA that year. I was learning the offense, how to coach guys, and obviously continuing to build my leadership on and off the field team. So it was definitely an instrumental year for me from a developmental standpoint. But yeah, it was a fun year.
Yeah, definitely. What was it like just living in Kentucky?
Kentucky was interesting.
Yeah.
Kentucky was interesting. It's different, a little slower paced, but food's good. People are great. A little slower paced, but football is. It's true what they say. The South is. They care about their football. There was probably more passionate fans. Not the number of fans of UConn, but they're just so passionate. They stay. They're interested. It's a fun atmosphere down there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, how'd you win the starting job there?
So I came off my redshirt year, and there was a little quarterback battle between three guys, and just had a good spring and a good preseason, and they named me the starter. So it was one of those opportunities where I transferred all the way down to Kentucky. I better work my butt off to make sure I'm the starter because I don't want to waste a transfer on being a backup again. So I really buckled down, and they named me the starter, and the rest is history.
Yeah, for sure. What led to your success I guess because that was like your really only year that you played and started every game, right?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just understanding the offense, and I think my redshirt year really helped with that, was just being around the coaches and understanding what they were going to call and why they were calling it. And I think that mindset really helped me going to my senior year, my redshirt senior year.
All right, now let's walk through your NFL journey. So what happened after you graduate? You finished football, you graduate, then what happens?
Yeah, so graduate, play football senior year, and then I go to Washington, D.C. to train.
Yeah.
And pretty much just buckle down there for a month and a half and just get my body right, understand the 40, the shuttle, all that kind of stuff, to set me up for pro day. And I had a really good pro day at EKU, which I think helped me get on a few radars on a few teams. And then pro day came around. I did a good job, talked to a couple coaches there. And then after that, it's kind of a weird waiting game, you know what I mean, until the draft. You kind of just have to wait and see what happens. So draft day comes around, and the last day comes, and the Packers call, looking for an undrafted, obviously preferred free agent. So sign with them on that day, and then you report with a bunch of the other rookies, and that's kind of free game at that point. Everyone's there. There's a 90-man roster, and it's may the best man win to the 53. And at first, it was very difficult learning the offense. Towards preseason, it starts to really click, and you start to understand it. And fortunately, I had a good preseason, which I think helped me, stay on the 53-man roster. So, so the cuts finally happened. I made the team, and then the rest of the whole pretty much year this year is just supporting Aaron and making sure he gets what he needs for the games on Sunday, because he's the guy running the show out there. It's no longer about Deshaun and I. It's all about Aaron and how he can go out there and help us win. So, it's all about breaking down film and doing defensive, DB reports for him and just breaking down stuff for him to make it easier for him. So it was a great experience my rookie year. It's been a lot of fun. Aaron and Deshaun have been a great pair of leaders for me. They've done a great job of showing me the ropes. So I'm extremely happy about that.
Yeah, for sure. So the Packers were the only ones interested in you?
No, there were a couple other teams. I think the Raiders, Browns, the Vikings, they're pretty heavily recruiting me. But other than that, not a whole lot of teams, no.
So was the Packers the only offer?
No, I had the Raiders and the Browns.
So how'd you decide to pick the Packers? I
had a previous relationship with the Packers. I took a top 30 visit there, so I got to meet some of the coaches, and I felt comfortable about the quarterback competition here. So decided to be with the Packers. It's a great organization, and it's first class, and I truly do love it in Green Bay.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, unfortunately going undrafted, but that's cool that you got to actually pick from 3 different teams.
Yeah, and that's being undrafted is not a negative thing, because like you said, you get to almost pick at that point. And that's kind of where you have to do your homework and see, what spots would fit best for you. But yeah, no, it's, whether you're drafted or undrafted, it's really up to you at that point. It's you got to make the team, you got to battle. It's all about competing and, trying to make that 53-man roster.
Yeah. And I remember, Twitter just blowing up, and they were like, every week it was like, who's Tim Boyle? Who's Tim Boyle? And then he just kept on going off, and then all of a sudden, one week after another, all right, this kid might make it. Who is he? Where is he from? And then I just kept on seeing everything. So what was that like?
I kind of snuck up out of nowhere, which was nice, but it's nice kind of being the underdog and coming up, and no one really knows who you are. You're making a statement, so I kind of enjoy being that guy.
Yeah, for sure. Even that. Quarterback. That's the position.
Yep, no doubt.
So ultimately, you won the third string job after they traded Brett Hundley. So what was it like just making the 53-man roster?
Man, it was awesome. It was a dream come true. You have those experiences at UConn being benched and people telling you can't do this or that, and then to finally realize that you've made the 53-man roster for not even the NFL but the Green Bay Packers. So much history, so much tradition there, and that was an emotional day for me when I got that call. So that'll be with me forever. And can't thank my family and my friends, my girlfriend enough for being there for me and just riding it out. It's all worth it. Yeah,
for sure. And going into the first game, I know Aaron Rodgers got injured, and then Deshaun, I think, got injured too. But you weren't active, and I remember also Twitter was going wild too, because they were like, "Why isn't the third string quarterback active?"
Yeah, most third string quarterbacks aren't active, so it's one of those funky deals where you have 53 guys, but you can only dress 46 on game day. So I unfortunately was one of those guys who was inactive, but. Yeah, no, that was a scary situation, that first game there, but Aaron came back and did what he does best and lead us to win. So
yeah, so overall, how was your rookie year? I know you kind of touched on it, but
yeah, no, it was awesome. I learned a lot. Didn't really understand the true ins and outs of what goes into the National Football League, but it's great to see. Just the game planning, the scheming. Just the hours and the manpower put into it. So, yeah, I learned a lot. I think I'm going to come out a lot better from it. And, it's been a lot of great relationships, and, just happy to be a part of the organization.
Yeah, and I see you guys have fun with the photo bombing.
Yeah, we do. That's kind of a stupid little thing we do, but it's fun.
And what's it been like, just like working with Aaron Rodgers and learning from him?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Just to see how he goes about every week and how he approaches each game plan, and he's just so consistent. And that's one thing I think I'm going to take is he doesn't fluctuate. You know what I mean? It's just a straight line of consistency of preparing and being the same leader and player on and off the field. So. He's been great. He's been very helpful with me in my development, so I can't thank him enough.
And how do you feel about your new coach, Matt LaFleur, being a former quarterback?
Yeah, that's great. I think we're all eager to learn the offense and kind of see where this thing's going to go. So, it's awesome having a young, vibrant staff. Having guys you want to play for and you trust. It's going to be a fun couple of years.
Yeah, have you got to meet him yet?
I did, yeah, briefly. Got to shake his hand, introduce myself, but no in-depth conversations yet. Just kind of the introduction stage right now.
Gotcha. And what are your goals for this off season and then the 2019 season?
Yeah, I kind of want to lean my body out a little bit. Lose some weight, put on some good weight. I want to kind of touch my body up, and then I just want to understand the offense. It's interesting going into a new year with a new quarterback coach, new coordinator, head coach, and you have to learn a whole new system. So I think that's my priority right now is kind of trying to get up there and see the coaches and see what I can pick up from the offense.
Yeah, definitely. You ready for some fun questions?
Let's do it.
What's the biggest difference living in Connecticut and now living in Wisconsin?
A lot colder.
It's just a different cold?
A lot colder. Like I said, right now it's negative 18 wind chill right now.
That's crazy. And
it is nuts.
What do you like to do in your free time when you're not playing football or working out?
Ooh, that's another good question. I like going to see movies. Yeah. Big golfer.
Okay.
And I'm a big movie guy. I kind of like the theater and going to see plays and going to see movies. That kind of aspect of life right now.
What's the latest movie you saw or a good one you've seen?
Ooh, what did we just go see? Oh man, I'm blanking right now. It's a really good movie too. Glass.
Gotcha.
Glass. Yep, it was a good one.
What about? Can you give me your top 5 favorite quarterbacks all time?
Top 5 favorite quarterbacks all time.
Yeah, your favorite quarterback.
In no particular order.
Okay.
I'm going to go Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Staubach, and we'll go Montana.
All right, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And what about what was your favorite city besides Green Bay, like traveling wise?
I like Seattle. It's kind of a quaint, little city that's up on a hill. It's a nice little city. I enjoyed that experience. For
sure. Actually, I think I had somebody else say that too. I forgot who it was, but someone else said Seattle recently too.
Yeah, it's a good little place.
For sure. Well, appreciate you coming on, and where can people find you on social media?
Yeah, I don't even know my handles at this point, but I'm on Twitter and Instagram. I believe it's Tim Boyle _7 or Tim Boyle 7 or Tim Boyle. Actually, I'm not 7 anymore, so I'm 8. So Tim Boyle 8 at this point. So yeah, I'm on Twitter and Instagram. So look me up.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, I appreciate you interviewing me, and look forward to staying in touch.